Let's fire up the Masterbuilt AutoIgnite. We're going to make a homemade chicken rub. Use the ThermoPro Lightning and ThermoPro Temp Spike to help us cook these chicken halves to beautiful chicken half perfection. I'm Johnny. The first thing we're going to need is a chicken rub. In a jar, start with 2 tablespoons of sea salt, 1 tablespoon of ground black pepper, half a tablespoon of granulated garlic, half a tablespoon of granulated onion, 1 tablespoon of lemon pepper, 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning, a little shake of coriander, and a little shake of ground mustard. Get that all in a jar, shake it up, and when you're done, you'll have a rub that looks like this. Now that we have our rub done, let's prepare our chicken halves. I've gotten to where I like to use these organic Simple Truth chickens from my local Kroger. I feel like they taste better and the texture of the finished chicken is a lot better. I'll start off by cutting off the wing tips and then just use a sharp knife, start on the keel and work your way down the chicken breast bones. Follow along the outside of that wishbone and you'll eventually be able to cut through the wing joint, and then on the other side you'll be able to separate the thigh bone. And then I like to try to save that oyster on the back of the chicken that's connected to the chicken thigh. If you don't want to do that, you can just then cut through where the joint was, and look at there, I was able to harvest both chicken oysters. Here's what my chicken halves look like when I was done. Basically what I have here are 2 boneless chicken breasts. When it's time to carve them up, there'll be no bone to get in the way. Now there is one thing I like to do, and that is to cut right along the chicken thigh bone. I think that helps heat get in there for a faster cook. And here's what that actually looks like. You see the bone is exposed. Now we can take that rub we made and start seasoning the underside of the chicken first. The reason why we start on the underside of the chicken is so we can end up skin side up. Make sure you get under the wings and under the drumsticks just to get an even coating all around. Notice I'm seasoning on a rack. That's because we're going to end up cooking on this rack. And I try to get as even a coat of seasoning on as possible. And here's why I like to season on the rack. I can just pick up the rack and season the chicken without having to grab it and mess up my seasoning. Now here's what my chicken halves looked like when I was done seasoning. I can just now get these into the refrigerator until it's time to cook. While the chicken halves are in the refrigerator, let's fire up the Masterbuilt AutoIgnite. I've actually had the AutoIgnite for a while now, and I thought I'd show you what makes it an AutoIgnite. Now, for those of you who don't know, the AutoIgnite is a gravity smoker, and on the right you'll find the charcoal bin. As you can see, I already have mine loaded. And then on the right side under the table, you'll find there's a little slide door, and that's where we're going to put our charcoal starter. You want to push that all the way back until it touches the igniter. If it's not touching the igniter, it will never start up on its own. And then over on the left side, we can push the power button and then the AutoIgnite button. To set my temperature, I'll touch the thermometer icon and then set our temperature to 375 degrees. And in the time it took me to do that, there's already smoke coming out of our charcoal bin. Now if we look through the slide door where we put our igniter, you can see that it's glowing a little bit. And 1 or 2 minutes later, it's fully on fire. And then once I hear the fan come on, I'll wait another minute and then close the lid to the charcoal bin and then slide the little door where we put that igniter in closed. Then I'll close the lid of the Masterbuilt AutoIgnite. While the Masterbuilt AutoIgnite is preheating, let's bring out our chicken halves and set up the ThermoPro Temp Spike. I'll just kind of map out where I want the tip of the thermometer to be, and that's the thickest part of the chicken breast. Now that you've mapped out where the tip should be, let's go ahead and insert both of our ThermoPro temp spikes. Okay, we have both temp spikes inserted. The last thing I'll do before placing our chicken halves on the grill is lightly spray them with olive oil. I feel like this helps the browning and allowing the skin to become a bite-through skin. And of course, be sure to set up the Wi-Fi so that you'll have some extended range when using your ThermoPro temp spike. We're going to set up the temp spike by touching the center circle. Now we'll touch poultry, and then we'll touch chicken on the top. And I like my chicken to be well done, so we'll select well done. We've already inserted our temp spike, and we've already placed it on the grill. Now our temp spike is set up to monitor the cook. You can also monitor it on the main unit. The main unit has a handy magnet on the back, so you can place that in a safe, cool spot on the grill. So now that our chicken is on, all we have to do is monitor our cook. One of the advantages of using a temp spike is that it has 3 different temperature sensors. An hour into our cook, we're sitting at around 145 degrees. And this is where I like to spin my chicken. So I'll turn it 180 degrees and close the lid. Now, a few minutes later, I want to go ahead and check the temperature of my thighs, because we have to cook this chicken to the coolest part of the chicken. And in this case, it's always going to be the thighs. And to check the thighs, I'll be using the ThermoPro Lightning. The nice thing about a pen thermometer is it is dynamic, and you can get the temperature in multiple places of your chicken. So this is why I like double checking with a pen thermometer. And once we reach our target temperature, we'll receive this alert from our ThermoPro app. Now, it only took a little over 15 minutes for us to hit our target temperature in the chicken breast. But we're still going to want to check the thighs with the ThermoPro Lightning. And here we are at basically 157 degrees. Now, our chicken will have 7 to 9 degrees of carryover. So I'll rotate again and give this another 5 minutes. Now it's 5 minutes later. Let's go ahead and remove our chicken from the grill and let it rest for about 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, let's check out our results. So I think we're going to start with a chicken wing. Let's remove that flapper and see if it releases cleanly from the bone, which it does. Now it's a little popsicle. And yeah, that is some good chicken wings right there. Love it. And look at that clean release from those chicken bones. Now let's try the chicken breast. Some people say that if you let it go over 165 degrees, that you'll have dry chicken breast. There's really a range, probably between 165 and about 172, where the chicken breast will remain juicy, as in this case. Now let's take a look at the joint between the chicken leg and the thigh, just to make sure it's cooked all the way through. As you can see, juicy, and yes, it's cooked all the way through. The taste, come on, you already knew that leg was going to be delicious. One thing I do want to say before we sign off is for everyone who decides to use my link, thank you so much. I appreciate it more than you know. Now, if you haven't already subscribed to View to a Grill, go ahead, do that right now. Thanks a lot. I'll see you next time. Take care, y'all.